What's so significant about this year's Hunger Seder is that we're not doing it Yad Ezra where we've done it in previous years, but we've decided to take it on the road, and we came to MSU's Hillel with the hope that we would be able to get legislators to come and share with us the story that we are reading in the Haggadah this year.
I think it is so vitally important that Yad Ezra takes the Hunger Seder on the road. Having it here in Lansing first, it's so close to the Capitol, it was so easy for delegates to come and see what it means to be part of a Seder and what it means to be addressing this issue of hunger in a living way.
I just hope that as they're sitting at the table, looking around the room, listening to the rabbi explain the Exodus, talking about the fact that there's hunger in this community that's not being addressed, it resonates with people and they really feel an emotional connection to what is being experienced by so many vulnerable families in our community.
Shalom. Welcome. I'm so honored to be able to welcome all of you here to the Lester and Jewel Morris Hillel Jewish Student Center. Thank you so much for joining all of us for this Hunger Seder. You'll recognize that there are two empty seats at our table on either side here. One represents the veterans, those who do not have enough. The other recognizes those who are still in oppression and who it is our duty to help free from that oppression.
Hunger in our community is such a silent thing that we don't talk about, that there's not a lot of awareness. But there are people suffering day to day. They go to work with you and I, they live their daily lives, and then they go home, we go to eat dinner, and they have nothing to eat.
We'll sing together very briefly these words, Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad, these words which introduce us to the fact that we get to sit here together and have this moment together to consider what it truly means to be hungry and those who are oppressed by hunger. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
I think it's great that we are highlighting the issue with veterans and hunger with veterans. The fact that they might not have enough to eat. I mean, that's the minimum that we owe them. Obviously, we want to take care of our veterans, and food should be that number one thing.
Hunger is experienced too often among veterans, especially those veterans having difficulty transitioning back to civilian life and the workforce, waiting extended periods of time for disability determinations, or struggling to make ends meet. For currently serving members of the military,
It's a very appropriate topic to focus on those who have served us, and yet we are not helping them when they get back. We have to highlight this in addition to all the people who are hungry. These are a very group of folks who tremendously have need, but we should be helping first.
When there's no plate of food in front of you, you really have a moment to really think not just about this narrative of oppression that the Seder tells us about, but really to understand that still exists in our country today. As we all ask the first question, Bree will respond for us. So we all say, why during this Seder do we focus on hunger? We read together the second question. Why isn't it better for local charities to feed people? Avadim hayinu, ata b'nei horin, avadim Now turn to the 10 plagues. The plagues we see today, however, are not punishments from God, but they're ones of our own doing. If we were to be going through the Seder with food, with wine, we would take one drop out of our wine glass and recognize each of these plagues. And so I hope that there's some metaphorical response in your own bodies to recognize that idea of taking from our own cup and recognizing the struggles in the world as we read each one of these of our own modern plagues.
The idea that we are not having any food whatsoever really, I think, hones in this message that, wow, there are people who sit at a table with an empty plate.
We wanted to give you time to reflect on the experience of being part of a Hunger Seder. We're going to read together this last line, and then I'm going to ask you to take a few moments for reflection. So we read together on page 21. This year we are here, next year in Jerusalem. This year we are pained by hunger. Next year may all who are hungry come and eat. That we can work together to help end hunger in our own country. Make sure that these things change for our military, veterans, those who are military families currently, and truly all of those who do not have a seat here today because they are still sitting hungry somewhere else that we need to take action towards. And so you have a plate in front of you. create maybe one word of a reflection, one word of something that you hope you will do from today to change. A thought, a sentence or two on this experience, how it moved you, and why you feel that being part of a Hunger Seder is important.
When we ask our attendees to write on the plate, what we're doing is asking them for their reflections, their experiences, their emotions. What is it like to be at a table where no food is served when you expect it?
Watching as representatives, senators, students sat and considered what they were going to do to create change. And that moment of silence as they filled an empty plate, not with food, but with their hopes for a better tomorrow.
I think it's important to take back to the colleagues in Lansing and people back home in Flint that this issue is something that we all must focus on. It has no partisan stripes. It affects people all across the state of Michigan, young and old, urban communities, rural communities, suburban, and it's important for us all to focus on it.
No one deserves to be hungry. This goes beyond religious convictions.
As a community, we need to be cognizant about what we're eating because there are people who are hungry. We need to be cognizant about what we're wasting because there are people who are hungry. And if we take those small steps, then we can take larger steps in making sure that we do not have hunger, that we eliminate it together as family, friends, and a community.
Oseh shalom bimromav, uya'aseh shalom aleinu, be'al kol ha'olam, as we say together. As I closed with these words of peace, I hoped that each person went out from the event not only having this experience and wanting to have peace amongst the individual legislators and senators and everyone who is sitting there, being able to sit down together at a table and recognize, sure, we have different ways we see the world, but creating peace means coming together to dialogue about how we can create change, lasting change for those who are in need in our country.